Stay for this because I've reached the part in this whole like class consciousness part where I'm just filled with the most impotent rage and like I'm talking that white hot I need to sink my teeth into something and scream kind of rage. Because what do you mean that it never had to be this hard for us? Like, what do you mean in other countries they don't have to spend 20% of their paycheck on groceries? What do you mean in other countries everyone can own homes because they're not paying $2,000 a month in rent, or that their mortgages aren't like their entire paycheck? What do you mean that people in China work one job and they don't even work 40 hours and they can easily afford their life? And then I'm over here working 60 hours a week, just me as a single parent, to like barely make ends meet, and I'm penny pinching every single second, and like there's so much of life that my kid misses out on and that I miss out on because of money and like work and no social support net. And you mean to tell me that it didn't have to be like this? They keep us in these chains on purpose, and it never had to be like this. Like, I did everything right. I went to college. I had to drop out of college to take care of my mom when she was sick because, again, no social services, like, no safety nets. My dad worked his whole life and died and left everything to my mom. My mom was disabled, and she lived on credit, and, like, she barely made ends meet, and she did everything she was supposed to. And I did everything I was supposed to. And it just keeps getting worse. It was never supposed to be like this. And I'm so angry that it is. Because what do you mean? I've spent so much of my life working so hard to scrape by. And it never had to be like that. My suffering was at the expense of someone else becoming wealthy because they could. And I am so angry about this. It can't stay like this. It doesn't have to stay like this.
The amount of white people, since we've all gone to Red Note and have made Chinese friends, the amount of white people who are coming back to this app and saying that we're being scammed and, oh my goodness, that we shouldn't be living like this in America. Oh my God. You had to get on a Chinese app to learn that life isn't meant to be hard. And the way that we live life in these United States is difficult as hell because that's by design. These are all manufactured problems. Y'all had to get on an app made by the Chinese to learn that. But when black people,
all the white people going on Xiaohongshu, and they're like, oh my God, China, they have everything. Their food is cheap. They have good schools, blah, 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 blah. Why don't we have that? Racism. It's because of racism, babe. Yeah. And post-Reconstruction era South, after those traitors lost the Civil War, the South was devastated. This is just an example. The South was devastated, like in every way you could think of. The Northern troops had burned their farmland. They had blown up railroad tracks so you couldn't transport anything. They liberated all the enslaved people. They had burned their houses to the ground, okay? The South was, it was so bad. Northern newspapers were sending down photographers to take photos, to take photographs, and they were going back up north, and the editors and photographers were selling little books to other Northerners, like poverty corn. That's how bad the South was after the Reconstruction era, after the Civil War, or the Reconstruction era. Do you know what white Southerners' primary concern was? Not housing and feeding and clothing their families, not trying to rebuild their economy. No. It was making sure they inflicted massive physical, mental, and economic terror on formerly enslaved people in the South. That was their modus operandi. That was very important to them. More important than rebuilding their economy was harassing black people. And that's just an example of the centuries white people have spent cutting off their own toes just so we don't have anything. But the gag is, now you don't have anything either. We don't have anything, but neither do you. And that's why we don't have nice things. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Like, what do you mean in other countries they don't have to spend 20% of their paycheck on groceries? What do you mean in other countries everyone can own homes because they're not paying $2,000 a month in rent, or that their mortgages aren't like their entire paycheck? What do you mean that people in China work one job and they don't even work 40 hours and they can easily afford their life? And then I'm over here working 60 hours a week, just me as a single parent, to like barely make ends meet, and I'm penny pinching every single second, and like there's so much of life that my kid misses out on and that I miss out on.
I'm gonna just cut it off right there. Dry up them fucking crocodile tears, Sarah. I don't want to. I don't care. I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because this is white people's fault. This is white people's fault. And now y'all want to boo-hoo and cry because y'all done got on that Chinese app and they done put the Uno reverse card on y'all ass and held up that mirror and told y'all, no, y'all are the brokies. Not us. We not the brokies. It's y'all. And y'all got to face the cold, hard reality that y'all have made this bed and now y'all got to sit in it. No, take accountability. Don't sit here and boo-hoo and cry and get on the TikTok and talk in the internet talking about what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? No, what are y'all gonna do? Because black people have been telling y'all for fucking decades. We have been protesting. We have been doing everything for all these fucking decades, and y'all have sat back and reaped the rewards thinking y'all was a part of the club because y'all was white. Y'all thought this shit was about race. No, it's always been about class. And y'all were never a part of the club. Y'all make up 60% of this country's population. There's no we, it's y'all. Every minority could vote or go against something that, or go for something that we know is good for the people. And y'all would turn it down because y'all have the overwhelming majority. So it's no we, it's y'all. Fix y'all shit. I know y'all don't like to take accountability for nothing, but now it's time. Y'all over there boo-hooing crying because y'all seeing the Chinese Walmart and they over there paying $3 for a whole goddamn bag of groceries. Meanwhile, you got to pay $200 and barely fill up your grocery cart. See, all those things you're boo-hooing and crying about, FDR made that happen. But then it all went away in 1967. Why did I say 1967? What does that correlate to? Oh, the Civil Rights Act was passed. Integration happened. And then white people stripped away or voted against themselves to strip away all public services and entities and all those great things that y'all had prior to integration because y'all didn't want black people to have the shit. So y'all gave all that up in the 1980s when Reagan created trickle-down economics because y'all didn't want us to have. He gave us crack and trickle-down economics. And y'all was cool with that. Y'all made a deal with the devil and now y'all got to accept the consequences of y'all fucking actions. Y'all had affordable housing. Y'all didn't have fucking credit scores. Y'all didn't have you could send your kids to college for the free or for the low. We had advanced and effective public transit and services in this country. But y'all gave all of it away because y'all didn't want niggas to have access. Y'all fought so hard with things like redlining and all these different things to hold black people back to keep us from getting a piece of the pie. Whole time they taking y'all pie. And now y'all gotta face the music. And y'all don't, now you wanna boo-hoo. Y'all let them pass the Patriot Act in the act of protecting us from terrorists. Use that Islamophobia against y'all dumb ass. Y'all let them further push the Patriot Act in 2019 because of that the immigration that y'all was so afraid of, all the immigrants, right? Just taking away all y'all fucking right. Now y'all want to point and what are we gonna do? No, what are y'all gonna do? Because when black people out here marching because for police brutality, who they just do things to us and write a fake ass police report and get away with it and nothing happens? You think or when we did ride when things like Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin happened, and the original Black Lives Matter activists were the original movement that got hijacked. You know what I'm saying? The original activist that was out there on the ground got took out by the police. Oh no, y'all ain't say nothing then. When we telling y'all that they're interfering in our freedoms and our rights. But no, it's black people, so we ain't right. It's not us, it's them. Well, I'm not, I shouldn't have to pay for the sins of my fathers. I didn't own any slaves. I'm not racist. Yes, but you're compliant to the system and you're complacent and you're okay with the system that gave you an edge up against us. Go back to R. Kelly or the things that was going on at Nickelodeon or with Harvey Weinstein, all that weird shit, right? There were people still giving up their kids to that, selling they, making deals, still going up there knowing everything that was going on, putting their children, putting their livelihoods, cameramen, people going to get opportunities and jobs. They did not care so long as it wasn't them. And that was y'all this entire time up until now. Go back and look at the prequel to the Purges. Where did they start? Where did they start? How did they get people to approve some shit like the Purge? They started in the hood. They started with black people. They started with the disenfranchised. So when y'all turn a blind eye and y'all let that shit go on with black people and we getting our ass whipped by police and we getting our rights taken away and we getting profiled and we getting this, then they're slowly implementing that shit and they were slowly draining that shit from y'all. It look like, come on, bruh. You would have thought y'all would have woke up when that shit happened in North Carolina and that hurricane went up there and fucked them up. But no, what did they turn into? Oh, well, it's Biden. Whole time North Carolina is a red fucking state. Oh, like your local governments fucking failed y'all. So no, there's no, what are we gonna do? No, it's what y'all gonna do. Grab y'all fucking nuts and go do something. Because we, black people, we tired of being y'all fucking crash dummies and going out there and then they give y'all a little piece of the pie, then y'all go back and y'all let us out there to fucking drown. No, y'all go do something.
Oh, and never forget, we could have had Bernie, but y'all said he was a socialist.
So I just saw a post where a young white woman is upset and crying because she's understanding how easy they have it in China. And she doesn't understand why, as Americans, we have to work so hard just to have so little. She doesn't understand why we're spending 20% of our income on groceries. And she goes on to list a lot of problems. And she's like, it didn't need to be this hard. What do you mean we didn't have to do it like this? And I started to empathize with her. But then in the back of my mind, I thought, girl, this isn't new. Why is this new to you? And then I realized for quite some time, a lot of white people in this country, the issues that black people had, they thought they were just black people issues. When black people were spending 20% of their income on groceries, white people thought, oh, that's a black people problem. When black people had to work 2 jobs to make ends meet, white people thought, that's unfortunate. And now that the black people's problems have reached white people have hot tears and they don't understand how it came to be this way. Now, this is one of the reasons why it's important in any country or any place to listen to those who are marginalized. Those people are kind of like a canary in the coal mine, letting you know, hey, we got some issues. You can't see it and maybe it's invisible to you, but they are on the way. I just saw a post where a young white woman is upset and crying because she's understanding how easy they have it in China. And she doesn't understand why, as Americans, we have to work so hard just to have so little.
Racism would be the answer. So this all goes back to what they call drained pool politics. Once integration became the law of the land with cases like Brown v. Board, a lot of white people moved to get rid of public services and goods like swimming pools. And that meant they had fewer resources. They had fewer third places. And it was fine back in the day because they would just pay. They would pay to go to country clubs, which is why there's a proliferation of country clubs in this country right now. But they put all those kinds of things that used to be public services behind a paywall because then they could just say, well, you can't pay, or this is a private club. It doesn't matter if you can pay. We're not going to allow you in. It's our choice. It's not a public service. It's not a government run thing. Just so black people wouldn't have access. But over time, the cost of these services rose higher and higher until most white people cannot afford them. But it's not just that. I mean, this idea goes all the way back to things like Social Security. Do you know white people refused to vote it through back during the New Deal until 2 groups of people were not eligible? Domestic labor, so that would be like maids, and agricultural workers who didn't own the land. So in other words, if you were a sharecropper, like most black people in the South, or a maid, like the women, you couldn't get Social Security. Once they put those provisions in, all of a sudden, they could have it all day long. White people in this country have always been obsessed with the idea of black people not having things. And that's why they're in the mess that they're in. It's kind of nice to be able to say what I want on here. The reason why countries, the Scandinavian ones, Denmark and Sweden and whatnot, have such great policies is in part because those countries are homogenous, or mostly so. And they're not trying to investigate who's benefiting from the free child care and the universal health care and all that. They are moving on. We could have a great standard of living in this country, but white people are so obsessed, so angry at the idea other people who are not white are going to have that same great standard of living. They would rather live in squalor. It's why the Affordable Health Care Act got gutted. The utter terror that people who don't look like you are going to be able to live decently. What you pay for. I mean, politicians have tried to convince white voters for years. This is in their interest. It was in their interest to not have to pay for these goods and services. And now you fell for it. They convinced you it was communist or socialist to have a decent standard of living, to have the taxes that you pay go to something other than endless war, to actually go towards the maintenance of the nation and making our lives better. But, I hope you enjoy it. Rather than letting everybody have a turn with the ball, you've decided to pop the ball and you're complaining, there's no ball, there's no ball. Indeed, there's not. And if we got a ball tomorrow, and you saw the black people and others playing with it, you'd probably pop it again. So there's a direct correlation. It's not that black problems are just starting to suddenly leak over and affect white people. It's that the intentional negative economic and social policies white people put in place to oppress black people have now rebounded on them. Everything people complain about nowadays. How come there are no more third spaces? How come we don't have anywhere to go but work and school? How come we can't afford property? How come this and how come that? All of those have a direct correlation to post-integration policies and choices. Why is college so expensive? Racism. Black people started going and they raised the tuition out of all scope. It used to be practically free to go to school. How come I can't find a decent job? Racism. The minute black people integrated those unions for the factories that have been operating in this nation for decades, and black people could only be non-unionized workers or just unskilled labor, the minute we finally broke into the unions, that is when they began migrating out of cities like Detroit, first into the South for white cities, and then eventually overseas. You thought you were winning. And the hollowing out of Chicago and Detroit and etc. don't just affect black people. The reverberations of that crisis have affected the entire Midwest, and look at the condition of the Rust Belt today. The hole you dig for somebody else will be the one you fall in. That's literally biblical. If people had focused on trying to get the whole standard of living for the country up, even if they had just focused on their own ends, but not tried to punish anyone else, this whole country would be in a better position today. And now look, I hope this serves as a valuable lesson to you. It probably won't. Because that's why the last election went the way it went. They're still trying to convince you somebody else is to blame for the problems that are self-engineered. And they tried to convince you that by punishing someone else, the mysterious boogeyman stole your cheese, and if you beat him up, if you cut his wages, if you deport him, you'll get your cheese back. It's not true. This learning curve is getting steeper and steeper, though. I am genuinely interested to see what happens on Red Note next. I think this will be the first time a lot of Americans have unfettered, unpropagandized access to so many citizens from a nation we've been taught is bad. That inherently they're doing things wrong and that they're oppressed and we need to help them and save them. This will be the first time a lot of Americans have had that much direct contact. And the puzzle pieces are starting to click into place. This might be the making of something. We will see. That's it. Like and follow for more. As long as you can. I hope it's longer than we think.
Baby, my For You page is popping today. It is full of beautiful, melanated black people letting white people know why they have it so much better in China. Letting white people know why you can't afford a home, why you can't afford insurance. Beautiful, black, melanated people are letting white people know we can't have nice things because of your racism. White people been over there on that Red Note app and they are sick. They are learning that Americans have been living in squalor. White people are sick. They are learning that for 400 years, black people lived in slavery. But in 2024, they are realizing that they are too slaves. They are sick. They are twisted. Listen, when Donald Trump came out and said, why do we keep getting people from these shithole countries? My response was, bitch, America is the shithole country. And white people are learning the truth. For the past 4 years, they've been fighting woke. And the Red Note app, Xiang Hong Shu, has made them the wokest people of 2025.
I want everybody this year, when they go see their physicians for their annual checkup, to request some blood work to be done and find out what tests can be done to measure the level of anti-blackness that's embedded in your motherfucking blood, and find out if there's some level of concoction that you can sip on to flush that bitch out. Because I will never understand the shit that I see on this internet sometimes. In its last days of TikTok, y'all are still on y'all bullshit. The hypocrisy is wild. And I know a lot of people was always going to say, oh, everything ain't about race. Y'all always try to, minimize it or make it boil down to race. And yeah, it actually is about race, because every single time there are two groups of people and or two individuals that are doing the exact same thing, have the exact same thoughts and actions, y'all never have a logical explanation as to why it's acceptable for one person or party to do it versus the other. So then it causes us to do some level of process of elimination. What are the differences between these two sets of people and or groups? And the only two things that always seem to pop up is either these people are not black and or they're a man. Like, be so fucking for real. The hypocrisy is outstanding. I don't know which one is worse at this point. I don't know if it's the conversations about black Americans going over to the Red Note app and calling out the cultural appropriation that's going on there and being told not to bring that woke shit over to somebody else's app, or if it's how Bad Bunny is such this astounding, remarkable artist that gave us such a beautiful homage to Latina culture with his latest album versus Beyonce being a propagandist. Let me know, because this shit eating me the fuck up. It's acceptable and it makes sense to believe that Bad Bunny, a multi-millionaire, has the ability to stay rooted and connected in his culture. He has the ability to make an astounding piece of artwork that I actually thoroughly enjoyed his album, where he can understand that this is not going to be for everybody. Specifically, this is a target audience. This is a homage to his island, to his people, Puerto Rico. He absolutely understands that all Latinos are not going to be able to get on board. He's going to speak a language that some unfortunate Latinos have forgotten. They're not going to listen to him properly. This album is about basically resisting U.S. colonialism. But for some odd reason, when Cowboy Carter, an homage to black culture, black Southern culture came out, it was propaganda. It was problematic because it wasn't for everybody. Black people go on to Red Note app to try to enjoy something new, resisting what US is doing to the TikTok ban. And they peep how their culture is just being used consistently. People are walking around with outfits, music and hairstyles and stuff like that has no level of connection to their culture. And when black people are able to acknowledge it, point it out, possibly even laugh at it, never really spread any level of vitriol, there's a level of hatred that comes back, and then you sit there and you weaponize our terminology again of being woke so black people can seem problematic. Yet Asian people in the community, or Asian communities, or certain individuals can come onto TikTok and express their sentiments on how they find some of the memes and their music that's being used distasteful. Y'all need to seek help. Y'all are deliberate in your hypocrisy. Like y'all choose to be obtuse with things, and I just don't understand why. What is the level of hatred for black pride, for gatekeeping black culture from black people, especially if black women are saying it? I will never understand it. I will never understand the mental gymnastics that y'all play. But in reality, I kind of do understand it. The reality is that y'all just believe that black culture is something that should be exported and used for all. And then you try to reduce it and make it seem like it doesn't exist because if you want to be able to use it at your free will, you don't feel that black people should try to gain ownership of their shit. And that helps your ability to try to belittle us and our contributions to our country and try to erase us from ever existing.
So guys, when I see videos of white people, white women, white young adults, white men crying on videos and talking about life in America is hard, life in America is unbearable, life in America has become a totally different thing than I expected. Whatever dream was sold to them is not what is on the ground. It's not what they're experiencing. The life where they cannot afford groceries, basic foodstuffs, they cannot afford gas, they cannot afford good medical care, no welfare, all those things. When they are crying and there are tears, lots and lots of tears, you get the seriousness of the issue. You get to understand how bad the situation really must be if that is what they have to do. But when I see videos such as those, I cannot help but think, what of the black people? As a white person, you have white supremacy. You have you are not discriminated upon. The system is designed for you to make sure that you, as a white person, are well taken care of, to make sure that as a white person, your path is smoother. There are things that have been done to make it easier for you. That the only thing that the government and the whole system wants to see is to see you succeed. That is how the system is designed. That's why white supremacy is a thing. Now, when you are the one that is complaining and crying like that, I cannot help but think of the black person. How much more, how tough can it be for them? These are people that have been discriminated from the very beginning. Going to school has been problematic. Family is problematic. Their parents being taken away from them. Everything has been so hard for them, so hard that you do not even imagine how someone came out of that alive and in good shape. You can only thank God. These people have no one fighting for them. They do not have anyone putting their life in line for them. They do not have people that have dedicated every bit of their soul to make sure they are okay. The system in any case is designed properly in such a way that it has to fail them. Even for those that have given it everything and made sure that they have just outdone everything, they still live and continue to live a life that is worthless. We talked about people that invented things, and most of them were black people. Black people have invented so much, but the patents, they were stolen. So that means they were not paid for whatever inventions they had, and that money is gone, and even their names were not on those things that they invented. It's a name of some white person, intellectual theft to that level. So it doesn't mean it doesn't matter if you're not trying too hard. It doesn't matter if you're trying a bit. It doesn't matter if you're trying so hard to get out of that hole that the system has put you in. It is that hard. Black people have gone through things that you wonder how they even survived. When they tell you their stories, I have friends that tell me things and I'm just like, You don't mean that. It happened. They have grown up in families that are broken. As I just said, the whole system and everything that is America is made to make sure that the black person is nothing, completely nothing. In any case, if a black person disappears and never ceases to exist, that's good news. If they had a way, they would just do away with that black population completely. Now, for people that the system is welcoming to them, making sure that everything that they try, they get, making sure that if it's a job they're applying for, 2 out of 10 times they will get it. What of a black person? 8 out of 10 times they will not get it because the boss asked what race they are, and they even have to sign sometimes with their race, what race do you belong to? And that's also a way of disqualifying someone. And you wonder which kind of world America is. But it is, that is what America is for black people especially. So, and to think that these people brought this calamity upon themselves when black people warned them, talked them out of this thing, this regime, this kind of politics. They chose to do race politics and have no care in the world, the kind of trashy leaders they're choosing. They did that to punish black people, to make sure that the black people is diminished as much as possible, diminished further. Then they're here crying, lots and lots of tears. You wonder what you're supposed to do as a black person. Are you supposed to feel sorry? Are you supposed to sympathize? Are you supposed to, what are you supposed to do? Because if it's hitting them that hard, just imagine what it is like for black people. It's double or triple that. And at least for them, they will have people helping them out, hearing their cry. What of black people? Nobody cares. Nobody bothers to know if they are surviving or not. Nobody cares to know if they are barely making it a day in their lives. Yeah, and I'm just happy that black people have made it a point this time to not talk about it, to not be on cameras crying, to not engage them, to not join them, to not say anything. Black people are just quiet as if they do not exist, as if they are not seeing anything that is happening, as if they're not feeling the impact. And it's making the white people to question. And black people also going through the same exact thing that we're going through. They are. But unlike you, they're used to this. They have been going through it for ages. And they spoke about it. And did you listen? No, you did not. Otherwise, you would know that they have been going through it for a long time. They cannot join you because there is no difference. In any case, they are avoiding deaths, early deaths, because for them, being on the streets as a black person is a crime. Unlike white people, they will demonstrate, they will go back home. Maybe their cry will be heard, maybe it will be given the attention that it needs, maybe. But as for black people, nobody cares. It's brushed off as if it's nothing. So black people over the years, they have learned that. They have accepted that that is what it is. And they have made sure that they will live and make sure they will be comfortable and ensure that they will not talk about it nor be on the streets for whatever reason. They will protect their lives with their every strength. Whatever else wants to happen to America, let it happen. If anything, they're not going to be as shocked as the rest of the population. So yeah. So guys, leave your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about this? If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Share it to your friends, family, people that are like-minded. Let's continue growing the community. Let's keep engaging. Let's keep talking about these things, discussing them at length. It helps us to keep grounded. Yeah. So guys, I'll see you on my next video. So bye for now.